welcome to the Let's Be Honest podcast. It's the first episode of this podcast. Paul Orr and Stuart Banter, and I'm Peter Flanagan. Is that a good intro? Award-winning. Yeah.
You may portray my eBay special $199 false award.
Yeah, that's my dildo.
Obviously with no batteries.
Can we talk? We should talk about one of the big gigs over the past weekends, country to country. Obviously, Bamford, you went.
Yes. I think it... Yeah, I was surprised at how well attended it was for the first year. Genuinely. Like, I did a couple of DJ after parties and people were genuinely buzzing. They were partying all weekend long.
And you got asked back for a second night.
Well, I kind of made that happen very quickly.
Right.
So I did the Friday night and that was advertised in advance. And then people were coming up to me just assuming, is this on again tomorrow night? And I was like, well, I would be up for it, but that's not planned. But this guy, here's the manager, he could make this happen. So I said, do you want to do it tomorrow night? And he said, well, technically we could do it. We do have a space, but it's probably quite short notice to get the word out. So I said, but I've got a microphone. These are your people. I'll just tell them and then stick something on social media tomorrow, put it into those C2C Facebook fan forums. That's it. And then I didn't anticipate Kane Brown, Saturday's headliner, would say in the arena where he's all going afterwards and everybody yelled Limelight and he says I might see you at Limelight.
Oh, serious?
So I was in a smaller room on Friday and they were actually turning people away at the door and then they upgraded it to the bigger room on Saturday. It was great.
Did he show up? did he show up on Saturday?
No, he didn't show up.
Oh,
no.
Right, okay.
Of course he didn't show up. Banford was DJing when he was He's heard about his repertoire.
Do you know, when I walked into the Limelight,
Take me home, country roads.
There's a guy who greets you and says, I'm your technician. What do you need sound-wise? Mm-hmm. And then he's like moving all the cables and setting it up for you. I says, I've got 2 weddings next week if you want to come with me. And he was like, nah, you're all right. But that's quite a... He stands beside you, operating the lights all night.
Yeah, see, I did one in Newry like that, and I just don't like anyone to be near me when it's just a bit intrusive. Do you think having someone beside you all night? I don't like it. And more to the fact that they'll see that you're not actually DJing, you're just pressing play on a mix.
Well,
on point. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
I had a couple of sherries, so it didn't really bother me.
It's quite easy just to plug in that USB stick and just stand on point. And I see a couple of videos coming out now of so-called major international disc jockeys playing pre-recorded mixes and pointing, and they've been caught out twiddling knobs that aren't even plugged in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, the part of it's not even powered up. Like, they're pressing buttons and they're not even...
There's a couple of pops back in the day when they were playing organs and guitars, the plugs weren't plugged into the electric.
But without mentioning names, I think we all probably know people out there DJing with pre-done mixes, and they're just
names. Point.
No, that wouldn't be
all right.
That wouldn't be professional.
You're fraudulent.
But do you know what? In a way, I think it's harder if you were to do that. Not that I do, but you want to know where the music, where the drop is. You know, that kind of it. There's a video of that girl who she doesn't.
Have you done many 60ths?
Yeah, that's fair. But you want to know what's coming. And do you know what? I went to see Paul Chuckle. Paul Chuckle came to. Honestly, no, this is true. That's true.
The great DJ,
because he's now doing appearances. He's like doing appearances at nightclubs. So he came over to, I think it was Filthy's, upstairs in Filthy's, and he just stood there all night, punching the air with his sunglasses on. Didn't press a button, and everyone loved it. Everyone thought that he was DJing. People are stupid.
Yeah, I saw Amanda Holden in a nightclub. I think it was in London, and it was her daughter's. It was a significant birthday recently for her daughter, and there's Amanda Holden with the headphones on, but there's a fella standing beside her doing all the work.
Yeah,
there's nothing more difficult than doing a wedding DJ, as we all know, because you have to entertain. You have to be part of the entertainment. You just can't stand there and point and punch the air, because it's a completely different scenario.
Yeah.
So credit to wedding DJs and these club jocks who just stand there and point. To me, it's a farcical event.
How do you deal with people coming up to you at weddings? Like just block people or people.
It's very simple. Second words off. It's quite simple. It's, just off.
And do you have any lines of, like, if someone says, "Can you play that song?" and you're not going to play the
Said
song?
it earlier.
Play it earlier. That's a good one. Yeah.
I used to be.
Yeah, well, we'll do that later. This other top jock here who's on this podcast who top jocks in a certain ice rink.
Yes,
he
that's
would
right.
know all about requests
Yes.
and how to deal with that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's, you get a lot of obviously kids coming up to you and they're asking for songs by artists you've never heard of, and then when you Google the lyrics, it's the most obscene thing. And then
What
when
is
you
it, an
say,
age thing, Banford?
I think it's more indicative of how younger people are consuming music, not by mainstream radio. I think they're just getting it off YouTube and Spotify, but when it comes to the
So I'll ask you again: is that an age thing?
What I'm saying is, I think it used to be that you had your core big acts on radio, and those were the sort of acts that people were asking for all the time. But now, not so much, But at the wedding thing, I used to be really
A good DJ.
snobby about it. No, I used to be like hypercritical about like, oh, you're gonna wreck the vibe, whatever. But I think it's an easier. If they're asking for it, they are going to dance to it, and it makes your life easier. I just stick it on now. I just play it.
See, I've had people come up to me saying, "Oh, turn that. That's rubbish. Turn that off, or get this on." Meanwhile, behind her, there's 20 people on the dance floor dancing. I just don't. People, and then if you're in a club, you're at least behind a barrier, but you're out in the open at a wedding, and anything can happen. Like, and I've had stories of people who get their equipment just through the window.
I can't believe, Pistol, you've actually been able to maintain 20 people dancing on the dance floor. That's a bit of a record. Isn't it like 20? A whole 20?
Yeah, that is a record. Yeah, it was a small room.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not getting many requests there for Donna Summer hot stuff?
Do you know I've started playing that a wee bit more recently?
Oh, have you?
Started to throw that in there.
Oh.
When you go in, so when you start DJing at a wedding, where do you start?
About 8:30. Usually about 8:30, and then the band comes. Peter, I must tell, this is the way. I don't know what way I would go and play the first song, and then the band takes over, and then you go off and you wait for the buffet, and then you get yourself out, get the chicken goujons gathered up, get in, get the buffet, and then you start. Maybe about 10:30 again. What time would you start at?
Well, I kind of meant musically.
8:30.
But sorry, this is an ongoing debate that we have, right? So there's obviously a buffet element at these sorts of functions.
Of course there is.
And I would never just
come
go
on.
up. I would never just go up and take or film a plate unless being offered. And a lot of times you're not offered. But
No. Of course you're offered.
Paul,
Of course you're offered.
whenever the hotel staff tend to tell you to tell the guests
Yes.
that the buffet served, you're known for
Yes.
going out, filling your plate, then coming back, lifting
Yes.
the mic, and then telling the rooms.
Because that does away with the sandwich issue.
What's the
And
sandwich issue?
The sandwich issue is, which I witnessed, the sandwich issue is when the doll in front of you is picking up the sandwich and goes, that's tuna, I don't like tuna, and sets it back down again.
Yeah.
In along with all the other sandwiches.
Yeah.
Hygienically, that's not great, especially after you just sniffed it.
Oh.
That's tuna, I think. Don't like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Look, that's part of the perk. It's part of the perk. The other perk, Banford, would have to be too, if it was a far enough away venue, that you'd have to be put up for the night.
I've never had that.
Well, I've never been far enough away, obviously.
I know one wedding DJ that every time he goes to a hotel and there's a spa in it, he makes sure that he gets the spa before he sets up.
We would do that. Banford and I would do that at a guest at a wedding. We would take ourselves off to the spa as guests in the middle of the speeches. I come back and say the speech is over. All right.
But Pistol, you're you're obviously playing in a wedding band, and now I assume once you've done that, then you just open the laptop, and that's part of the package. You start DJing, yeah.
Now, what I will say is not just a laptop; it's a full setup.
Right.
Full setup. So, but I think my job's easier that way because I'm with the band and I know what the crowd want by that stage. So it's easier for me. Like I'm just following on from the band.
But this is the thing, it's easy for these fellas like, I don't know, Tiesto and Fatboy Slim, because they've got 40,000 people off their heads in a field wanting to dance. But, guys like us, we've got to try and get them on the floor after they've had too much at the buffet and they can't move.
Yep.
That's a skill.
And you'll never please every single person in the room.
I've stopped trying.
Have you ever had any confrontation? Has anyone ever come up to you and been a bit rowdy?
I get quite a lot. I get quite a lot people coming up and going, will you play some country music? And I go, but this is country music. And they're like, nah, this isn't country, this is pop music. And I'm going like, this is like Luke Bryan or, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I get that quite a lot. I did have recently some smart ass who came up, he whipped out like one of these and says, here mate, your music shit, plug this in.
Jesus.
Which you obviously did.
No, I got quite aggressive at that point. I told him to F off and then realised that I was in a rugby club, he had mates, and I'm a wee specky twat.
All right, well, that wasn't a good start for your... I take it then you got a couple of return bookings.
No, but like, if you're doing like a 5-hour gig, which I'm known for regularly doing, if...
That's where you fall down, Banford, because that's ridiculous. A 5-hour gig, that's ridiculous.
I give the people what they want.
It's a long 5 hours. It's a long time. Like
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a long time to be sober.
3 hours is plenty. It's enough. They've had enough of you, and you've had enough of them at that stage.
But I love when you do like the 5-hour ones, and it can be a slow build, and then when you finish at one more tune, and you're like, I've just played for 5 hours.
Yeah. Or the people who don't they don't get up all night, but they get up for the last tune, and they think that's the start of the night.
Or when you're playing, I don't know, like Pitbull or, Superstar, and then, some wee elderly, a wee bit of jive and a wee bit of Bay City Rollers.
What?
Yeah.
Banford, what type of a wedding have you been to? At that time of the night, 1:45, what elderly person would be left at 1:45? They've all gone home at 9:30.
No, last week I
see them getting up. And there we go. There's that half that crowd away. And the best about it is you've already received the bride's 50 song list for that clientele, and then they've all gone home.
Oh, yes, that's a big bone of contention. A day or two before the wedding, you get sent through this list, and it's just madness. Like, there's no rhyme or reason.
It's madness?
No, but it's like, it's like Phil Collins next to Jay-Z. He's at the end, it's just about giving people the songs that they want, and it doesn't have to be in any particular order. Mm-hmm. Which is why I usually open with the YMCA.
Naturally. And obviously go out and demonstrate it, do you, Belford?
A good friend of mine is known for going out with a cowboy hat on and doing some demonstration, but I don't do it, no.
All right.
You couldn't pay me enough money for that. There's a DJ who goes out and he does rock the boat and all. You couldn't pay me enough to do that.
But no. They want games, Pistol, and they want entertainment, and that's where a wedding disc jockey is an entertainment phenomenon. Not a mixing DJ. They want entertainment.
See, I draw the line. I refuse to do things like Mr.
And they want Mr. and Mrs. and they want all that stuff, and they want pass the shoe and all that carry on.
Pass the shoe.
Move the balloon.
What's pass the shoe?
Well, pass the shoe. Have you never played pass the shoe?
No.
If I told you that, Pistol, you'd be stealing that and doing it at some of your gigs now, and you'd be becoming a bigger success. You think,
tell me.
That's one of my patented wedding games. And then, pass the balloon and all that sort of...
Pass the parcel?
No! The balloon's in your knee, between your knee. I'm not telling you. The balloon's between your knees.
I know that one. Yeah,
I'll carry on and move the balloon up over your chest.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? You have to have a balloon with you to make it work.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
And then it's obviously trying to get the balloons to come up to do that. But if you grab the best... Why am I telling you two boys how to do a wedding? Vast experience.
If I was,
Vast experience.
Vast experience, but no equipment.
Against you see, and it's the like of this pistol fella that's doing us out of work, Banford, because that's the other thing. And let's be honest, these bloody bands are doing the good wedding DJs out of business.
I
for
will.
£100, we'll say we'll plug in our laptop.
I will back you. I will back you up on that. The only good thing about our setup is I actually know what I'm doing DJing. Right, I will give you that there are bands who one guy stays behind with a Spotify playlist and just plays that for the rest of the night.
And the rest de-rig the equipment.
Yeah, and that's their package deal of a DJ.
Yeah.
And
Bands and wedding entertainment is far too expensive anyway. Far too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what is certainly a bone of contention, particularly in Belfast city centre, the access, trying not to get a parking ticket and trying to get all the stuff up, like sometimes stairs, never even mind a lift.
Oh no, there's a hotel in Belfast and you can't use the lift. The lift is for residents only.
I know where you're talking about. Yeah.
You have to use the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have this whole pile of stuff to haul up. Oh, you can't use the lift. It's for residents only. Mm-hmm. And then there's another venue that was famous for, if you went through the front door, the wedding would take place 15 feet to the right-hand side in a room. No, you have to go around the back.
Through the kitchen.
And climb up the fire escape, through the kitchen, push the stuff all through the kitchen, up the corridor, out into another room, through another room to get to the room that you can actually get to, which is only 10 or 12 feet from the front door.
But
and then once you've done that, what have you to do? You have to move your car now. You can't park her.
Yeah.
But after a lengthy hiatus from the wedding DJ scene, my first wedding back at Dean's at Queen's, I got glassed.
Yeah, and didn't get a back out of it. She didn't.
Yeah, it was one of the bridesmaids just tossed a pint glass in the air.
But that's what she does.
And she came over and she said, "Did you get hit?" And there was blood running out of my head and smashed glass everywhere. And I said, "Yeah." And she went, "Oh, sorry, that's my party trick. I do that. People like cheer me on and I throw a glass in the air." And I'm like, "There's kids running around."
And did you carry
up and go home?
Yeah, I was going to say, did you carry on?
Why did you not pack up and go home?
I mean, it took me 45 minutes to get it up.
Well, we've heard that before.
And let's be honest.
Yeah, we've heard. Has that time improved, or is it still 45 minutes?
Well, maybe take a wee blue pill. But
I can do mine in half an hour.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Well, you've proved that, pistol.
Yeah.
But it's not a case of just, folding the laptop over and walking out the door. There's a process. And, it's you against a room full of drunken, rowdy people. And
switch the mixer off first, then the lights, then the laptop. So you need to go through that proper process. It's not just a process of shutting down the laptop. Now, come on.
Yeah, it wasn't an ideal return to the scene, but, But the problem is, too, now, for the general public, everybody's got smart speakers in their houses. So even, back in years gone by, people would come up and maybe, "Excuse me, would you mind if you've got time? Would you play?" Now it's like, put it on and put it on next.
Yeah.
Is that what you actually say to your smart speaker, Banford?
Well, despite
way, if you wouldn't mind, would you put that on?
Well, here's the thing.
Say, Alexa.
Despite what I've just said, I don't actually own one.
Do you not?
I don't own a smart speaker, no.
Why?
You'll be able to listen to this podcast on a smart speaker.
I'm just a simple man, and I don't like to surround myself with material possessions.
You certainly like to surround yourself with dirty clothes in that apartment of yours, because any time I've been in it, it's there's stuff flying everywhere. Would you not even feel embarrassed about that at some stage where if somebody's calling in to see you, where there's stuff actually stuck to the wall?
I mean, I'm just a bachelor. There's nothing stuck to the wall.
Look, you would never see that in my house.
What can I say? I'll something will come over me and I'll gather everything up and hang it up. But a lot of the times it goes from washing machine to washing line to the back of the couch.
And let's be honest here as well. You know, your toilet leaked for 3 months.
It did leak for 3 months.
It leaked for 3 months.
Well,
Yeah.
yes. And I ignored the issue. And then next thing I got a knock at the door and the guy below me, the water was leaking through.
Well, what about the guy above you?
And I had to get a man over.
That was expensive. That was that 40 quid.
Aye. And then so he comes in and fixes the leak of the toilet. And then about 3 days later, your man comes up from downstairs complaining that it's leaking still. And I'm like, what? And I had to get the same man back. And it was the washing machine this time that was leaking.
Must be very thin. What the ceilings?
I mean, I had,
No, he's avoided any more calls to the door after that. That man actually should have his ceiling painted, but the Banter has just.
I offered to pay for the painting.
The Banter was scooped in for a major contribution towards the management fees of the apartment block.
But the only benefit was I did have an issue with my oven working at the time. So the same man that came round and stopped the leaking was able to fix my oven.
Even though you used an air fryer?
When the oven broke, that forced me to start using the air fryer. But when there was a man there who knew how to fix the oven, why not take him up on the offer?
Oh, right, okay. So that goes to show, the amount of money that you're making from these weddings and these different discos and things. And what do you actually do with it then?
Just, what do I do? I find a way of spending it,
Well, it's mostly on
stopping leaks.
And management issues.
With fast cars and fast women.
Well, isn't that the scenario?
I say fast cars. The car's full of DJ gear in the back.
But listen, do you not find the back in my heyday when I was out, there's a DJ at the minute, isn't there, that has closed his books for 24 because he's fully booked up. And but the good news, he has opened them up for next year. Which is good news. It's a relief, actually. It's a bit of a relief. But the Banter is, I was taking bookings 2 and 3 years in advance, which was the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And you were out maybe with 3 or 4 gigs a week in different bands. But was that good news?
That's your dinner ready.
Well, hold on. Good news. Good news. What is it now? Oh, my table's ready at the Grand Central Hotel, apparently. Your table is ready. View in the browser.
Oh.
We're excited to announce the launch of brunch.
Oh, I was going to say.
There you go. We see, not that I would frequent it that often. Yeah. But, so you had 4 or 5 gigs a week and you're out with different bands. But do you not find like Pistol that has all slowed away down?
Do you know what I blame? And I don't want to ever say this word again. COVID. Because COVID. Say it again. Because as you say, like people were booking like we were getting bookings in at 1.5 years in advance. I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years' time. Never mind take a booking for 5 years in advance. But now sometimes you get a booking our weddings next week. Who's booking weddings that soon?
I work with a guy, good friend of Paul's, guy called Chris Armstrong, and my gigs are fairly short notice.
Yeah.
Like it's generally like there was one today. Can you do like next Saturday?
Yeah, but is that the lack of bad management?
I think people are afraid now to book in case something happens.
Yeah, probably.
See the amount of people who've split up. Honestly,
before they got married,
before the wedding.
Paul would have always taken the deposit and not given it back.
No, I've only ever been to 2 weddings where they've actually split up after the meal.
Wow,
really?
In fact, one split up before the meal, during the speeches.
Wow,
true. And I'm standing at the bar with the members of the band, and the first thing the guy from the band says, "Here, do you think we'll get paid?" Right? And then the other incident that I had one time was my radio mic, right, was on the same frequency as the hotel PA. So they're up giving the speeches and had a shandy, and I was going, car 5, pick up at the pick up at the name of the hotel. And there, so I go, What's wrong with this microphone? Anyway, I'd like to thank the bride and groom, Car2, pick up.
But Paul, could you see yourself returning?
Oh, well, Banford, let's be honest. I have been requested more than once.
Because I might have a gig for you next Saturday.
Well, I would. Well, this just the only issue is I would be expecting payment before the gig from yourself.
Oh, I usually get it about 3 weeks after.
That would need to be deposited before we would even consider.
You're not Beyonce.
Or
Know what I mean? It's not like a suitcase full of money for your services.
well, that's Texas Hold'em, or is that what it's called? Isn't it?
Texas Hold'em, yeah. Or saw a presenter recently call it something else. Holden, like Amanda Holden.
Look, it is what it is at the end of the day, but I'll tell you something for nothing. I think you boys will get to the point where you get tired of hauling it up onto the 4th floor.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
But if somewhere like AM, PM, when you're stuck in that wee lift, doing multiple trips up and down, and the sweat's running off you, and you're going, what am I like? What am I doing? But then once I have it set up, and I actually quite enjoy it now. Whereas
Let's go to 10 Square where you can't get parked.
Yeah, 10 Square is a nightmare.
And let's go to the Europa where you can't get parked.
Do you know what I've noticed and I don't like is, whenever these people go to these wedding venues, they're greeted probably with champagne and they're charmed into spending a ton of money on their special day. And I've noticed that as a DJ, if it's slightly past 1, like a minute past 1 and you're still playing, sometimes the management can be a bit like rude to you and rude to them. Like, shut it down. She's like, get out. Like you've had your time, your money's run out.
I had one man, a very old man, who just wanted everyone out of the room, but he came over and just switched the thing off, switched the whole speakers off. Because I was 5 minutes past 1 o'clock.
Did you not learn from that pistol? So 1 o'clock, one more tune, switch it all off.
I know. But here's another thing, right? If you do venues that are across the border, when there's just seems to be no ending time for across the border.
Yeah, that never stops. 3 o'clock, half 3.
I played at 3 o'clock one time.
Some of them don't actually start at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Do you remember very famously, Paul? I did a house party of I shouldn't say, and started DJing quite late after all the catering and after the fire breathers and all that. And I come on DJ from about 11. It was meant to be 11 to 2. And then at 2, play on, son, play on, do another hour, make it worth your while. So I played on to 3. Play on, son, play on, worth your while. Come on, just keep going. I played all the way through to about 5 a.m. And then he handed me an extra 20 quid. And that was the day when I then had to go into City Beat to do weekend breakfast and fell asleep on air.
Fell asleep.
I actually have that video. I'll have to repost that again because that is a classic. With you lying sleeping on the door opening and
fully asleep.
I'm asleep in the chair, and next thing, I mean, it's quite clear. You see it in the video, but all I heard was the David McHammond, the deputy programmer, Bamford! And I woke up, and there's nothing more. Like, why am I waking up in a radio studio with Simply Red playing? And he's got the phone out filming me.
Do you know the other pet hate of mine too was I had this couple who wanted a specific mix put together to play for their first specialised dance. So I put the mix together, and the mix went back and forward, and no, we needed a wee bit more up tempo. We needed to come in there. We needed. So anyway, after 6 or 7 goes, the mix was put together, and all was agreed, and they thought it was great. So they were going off then to learn the dance for this specific mix, and we're going to a dance class, and it was costing a fortune, and that they go twice a week, and the father was involved, and one of these specialized surprise dances. So about 4 weeks before the wedding, I get a phone call to say that the groom had fell and broke his leg, right?
Right.
So he couldn't partake. But the father was going to step in his place, very honourable, and step in and actually do a wee bit more than what he was meant to do. So that's grand. So we arrived down, and it was down in the Sleeve Donard in Newcastle, that big ballroom. and very expensive wedding, and everything was pristine and everything was ready to go. So up comes the groom on the crutches. He's in the middle of the floor on the crutches. He said, I'd be able to stand and just, do a wee bit of movement. And up came the father, and they did their wee tiny bit of surprise to all the guests. And then, of course, up came the bride, and she came up, and oh, shock horror, big surprise. And she was completely drunk out of her head. And as soon as the mix started, after I put all this work into it for weeks, she basically just fell flat on her back, completely drunk out of her head, and had to be carried off. And all that money and all that gone. And then you try and find, and you know what else happens? You find then that the bridesmaids or whoever comes on, they're trying to do a better one for theirs, and it's like trying to build a bigger house than your neighbour. Mm-hmm. They do a better one, and we're going to fly in the helicopter, and we're going to have fireworks, and we're going to have all this stuff. It's madness. And I'll tell you now, and any young bride who may be listening to this, put the money into a house. Don't be spending £35,000 and £40,000 on a wedding. At the end of it, when you ask them, well, where are you going on your honeymoon? Oh, we're going to the Bahamas. Lovely, great, nice. And when you come back, where are you going? Oh, we're living with his granny. Put the money into a house. That's a PO tip, free of charge, pistol.
No, on that topic, there's some brides and grooms who pay all that money into the wedding, pay for the entertainment, to the DJ, and you're standing DJing, and they're nowhere to be seen for the rest of the night. They don't take in any of the nighttime stuff because they're away. So they spent all that money and they're not even there.
Do a party for them 5 years after that, and you'll see them standing at the bar all night.
But also, sometimes, even when they come up to say hello, or, you're talking about, let's do the first dance, sometimes they're that drunk at that point that they're not going to remember a thing.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever get anyone coming up to you at the end of the night saying, that was really great, thanks very much, really enjoyed it, great music, loved it, thank you, see you, bye-bye?
Quite often. Sometimes they don't. But it has happened. It has happened quite a lot. And if not them, other people at the wedding would come up and go, great mix, man. What's your name? High five. Have you got a card on you? No, I do something which I'm sure you've noticed. I tend to film parts of my gigs and put them on my socials.
I always find that very awkward. This goes back to one of my very first few gigs. Right, I'll get a wee promo video together just to show what I do and show the crowd that's on the floor. Then this guy comes over and ruins it by saying, sorry, you don't mind if I'm not in the film. For whatever reason, I don't know whether he was...
Well, obviously the wife didn't know he was there.
Yeah. Or wanted or something, yeah, I know.
Or wanted.
But you do editing of wedding videos, don't you?
No.
Did I dream that?
No, yeah, you dreamt that.
Okay.
Did you know that's actually one job you couldn't pay me enough money to do that job? See the people who walk away from a wedding with just a wee card and think, right, these are all the moments this is the first dance, this is the first kiss, this is the ring on the finger, that's all in this wee memory card, and you're taking it to your house to edit. What if it goes wrong?
Make a copy.
You couldn't pay me enough for that. I'd be too anxious.
My father used to say you can't do a job without the tools.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I'm telling you something. The disco rig thing that I had was about 23 grand's worth. It was. But do you know what? Nobody cared.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. It's what's come out the speakers. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
How many lights you had up and what rigging you had up and what laser lights you had floating about. Nobody cared.
I think if you go to the likes of wedding fairs, which by the way are a waste of time and money, aren't they? But if you're
DJ Samuel will be it for 80 quid.
If you're trying to get a booking based upon just your rig, then it can be quite impressive looking. But
I remember back in the day, the Downtown Radio Roadshow used to come from the Woodlands Hotel in Lisburn, and some of the DJs in there that were there to do the gig. But there was a friend of mine, and he went under the name of Sergeant Pepper's Roadshow. And he used to arrive in a lorry and set up the whole gig. And there was back then, maybe £40,000 worth of equipment or more, all piled in. Sound equipment, lights, lasers, smoke machines, balloon machine, the whole shoot and bang. Nobody cared.
I remember doing a wedding once, and about 3 songs in, one of the speakers blew, and so I just turned up the one that was working and got through the gig. And at the end, the bride and groom came over and said, "Thanks, there you go. Really enjoyed it. Great set." And I said, "Well, sorry about the technical issue." And they were like, "What?" And I went, one of my speakers went. "I'm sorry about that. Did you not notice certain parts of songs you couldn't? There was parts of the song missing." And they're like, "Nah, never." And there was times like they're dancing, their heads right beside the speaker that nothing's coming out of, and they still don't even notice.
Yeah. Or on the other hand of that, people who are sitting beside the speaker and come and complain to you because it's too loud.
Oh yeah, I get quite a lot. Well, not quite a lot, but I've had, what's it? The people with flashing lights,
Torches.
Oh, no, epilepsy.
Epilepsy, and you're like, well, what do you want me to like? There was a woman who recently came over to me with 2 big coats and put them over my lights, and then complained about me because I wouldn't turn the lights off.
And was that complaint upheld?
No.
No, right. It wasn't. The DJ Federation of Northern Ireland, that wasn't upheld. You got away with that.
No, it's just in the guy.
There's a venue heading over towards the Arch Peninsula, and they're very strict on noise levels and very strict on a whole lot of things. And you actually plug into their system, right? But I had the lights in all over this night, and they're all going. The next thing, no, you need to turn your lights off there because those lights are shining outside the window and they're affecting the motorists on the road. So the whole disco was in the dark with a sound level of about 5 dB.
Would you ever do that?
And they're going, "Turn it up, mate, turn it up." Can't.
But do you ever do that when the guys in the hotel come over and go, turn it down, and you put your hand on the knob?
Yes.
But you don't actually do anything. Is that any better?
Is that okay?
Yeah. Go and stand at the back of the room and let them know
thumbs up. Oh, it's good.
And then they go,
get on.
Or sometimes you do turn it down, and then as soon as they bugger off, up again. I do enjoy a post-gig McDonald's.
Oh God, don't start me about that.
I got into that, and I'm out of it now, but I was in deep. I was in deep every gig on the way there and on the way back.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh, I was fat like.
Why there and back?
Because you had to be there for about 7 o'clock, and then just by the time I got home and stuff, and so there's just no time to make dinners. You have to have dinner on the road, and then by the time you get up the road, it's just a heart attack waiting to happen.
Do you see if I had done that, I wouldn't have been able to eat the buffet. So you wouldn't.
No, but
why waste £6 at McDonald's when the buffet's coming out, and you can be guaranteed it's chicken goujons anyway. So
I know, but because there's times and your heart sinks when they say, "Oh, we'll just play on. We'll play on through the buffet."
Aye, as a band,
so you don't get the buffet. You're playing on.
And you know why that is? Because that gets you away a half hour earlier.
But not me, because I'm there at the end of the night.
But that's unlucky.
I know.
But the rest of them are all packed up the way. So if you're on your instrument pistol, you should be. And again, I'll point you in the direction of the off button. I'll switch it off, and off you go. Get your buffet, have your wee break, come back, and switch it back on again.
Switch back on again,
and away you go. And how did you get into it, Banford?
How did I get into it? Years ago, I was working in an office. And I was doing like hospital and then community radio. And I thought not only mobile DJing would be, because when you haven't done it, you think it's really easy money. But I also thought it would be a good way of like getting my name out there or making connections, or just the next, if you were serious about getting into radio, it was like the next logical step was to combine it with going out and gigging.
And what was your first gig like?
It was at
Ards Rugby Club.
Oh, you were there not so long ago.
And I did the whole gig sitting down. I've never sat down since. No offense to that venue or those types of gigs. In fact, I'm doing one on Friday night, similar. But I hate, when you have a load of big fellas in a room, and big rugby players don't dance, right? But there's this sort of like, once the drink kicks in, and there's the team and the vibe and the banter. So what they start to, it's a wee bit homoerotic. They just start lifting each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that going on. Yeah. I don't think that's a natural response to a song. Yeah.
The banter about that is as well, everybody arrives pristine on the same at a wedding. They all arrive pristine, and then about 10:30, the ties are up around the top of the head, the shirts are open down to the belly button, and it's bums out. That's, when you're doing a good job.
I had a guy stripped down to his boxers.
So what do you get up to in the privacy of
was that
your own business?
Was that the same fellow who told you to turn the camera off?
Yeah,
that was Flanagan's stronger videos at that time.
Yeah, but it was the Devenish.
Yeah, we made an attraction of that.
Do you know there's videos of the Devenish? I don't know, it's old news now, but there's one particular video of the Devenish, and when they pan round to the stage, there's this poor sound guy just sitting, and he's just hiding, and he doesn't know what to do. Imagine being and you were paid to do sound for that gig.
Oh dear.
Anyway, I think we should wrap this episode up. Are we game for another episode?
I'm game.
How do we exit this though? How do we say bye?
You see the power button?
No.
One more tune.
See the power button? You just hit the power button. Did you ever phone anybody on your phone and say, does your phone do this? And then hang up?